I remember having to steal everything. Hey y'all, my name's Katie if you don't already know me, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about what a day in the life homeless as a heroin addict looked like for me, and continue on with my story with what happens next. In my last video, I ended off with me being homeless and essentially getting busted with my drug dealer. I was kind of just gonna skim through the whole homeless aspect of everything, but I feel like it's important for you to understand me and my story without me kind of elaborating on what it was like for me to be homeless. Um, what homeless looked like for me was living in my car. I would sit at fast food places to hope that someone would be kind enough to buy me something to eat, if I even had time to do that, because of course, first and foremost, I had to get high. And if I didn't have money to get high or hadn't made money to get high, I was not worried about eating. I can't tell you how many times I would be panhandling in the middle of the summer in Nashville, or standing in the street holding a sign, and somebody would try to stop and take me to get something to eat or something like that. People would offer to get hotel rooms and things of that nature. And I remember very specifically being several times of wanting to go with an individual so they could buy me a hotel room for a day or the next couple of days, but being scared to lose my spot panhandling. There's so many homeless people panhandling in Nashville because you make such good money there panhandling, and there's certain street corners and stuff to stand on, and that's like the money making corner. um, and I remember me and Shay always making sure like we were in certain areas at certain times, and we would be at a certain corner during the day and a certain corner around lunchtime and a certain corner in the evening. And if we had to be out there at night, we'd be at a certain place, by the Opry, because the Opry's always got something going on. So yeah, I remember turning down hotel rooms because I didn't want to lose my spot to make money for dope. Cocaine for the first time. And I remember the first time I did it, I loved it. I remember hearing that train for the first time and just feeling so good throughout my whole body, feeling like I was ready to do anything. I truly loved it, sadly, but it's true. I loved it so much that I wanted to do cocaine and heroin together. Um, for some reason, when I did cocaine, I didn't get dope sick as quickly. So I started to kind of use cocaine as that medium that you don't really get. I was using it to keep me from coming down so fast off the dope. I remember panhandling, holding signs. I remember I remember getting a ticket for holding a sign and going to court, and the judge being like, "What does this even mean?" Because nobody that judge had known of had gotten a ticket or been to jail for it before. I remember having to steal everything because I was not barely making enough, but every dollar I had was going to getting high. For months, I'm living like this every day. What a day for me being homeless looked like was waking up in the morning in my car, doing whatever little bit of dope I had left over from the night before. And if I didn't have anything left over, I would use mooches or ask Shay or her boyfriend if they had anything. Then I would immediately get ready to go out and stand, is what we called it. We used to call it standing, to make money. And Shay would get ready. So we would get out there at about probably 7, 8 o'clock, because that's when everybody's going to work, right? And when it starts to get busy, so we want to be out there in the morning. By lunchtime, we're not even taking a break. We're still standing trying to make money because that's when everybody's taking their lunch break. Midday, everybody's getting out of school. And then usually by between 4 and 7 o'clock, somewhere in between then is when we would really like wrap things up for the day and start. We would walk back to my car and drive back to her house, contacting dealers to go pick up the boys so we could go get dope. And then we would get the dope, shoot up. Chris and I would go to the gas station so I could steal some food, or go to McDonald's to try to get somebody to buy us some food, or hope that somebody would just give us some food and charge our phones or whatever. And if we needed to shower, we would go to a truck stop and pay to take a shower. Yeah. I remember feeling nasty all the time, even on the days we would shower. I would sweat all night in my sleep and wake up feeling dewy and disgusting. Yeah. For me, I think in a way, I kind of got comfortable being homeless. I don't think it was ever really comfortable, but I think I got used to it. So after months of this, I can't remember exactly how long it was, probably like 3 or 4 months of it. I was just exhausted with it. I was so done panhandling. Um, so I had learned and heard about this Walmart scheme. I would take the receipts and go in Walmart and get the items, put them in a buggy, and wheel them up to customer service and return them. I had learned to find the items by the code on the receipt. And once I learned how to do this, oh man, if it was up to me, I would have never, ever stood for money again. I was just so done with it. So I ended up doing this, and I remember at first being nervous about it. I remember trying to get Chris to do it the first time because I knew how to do it, but I was like, just scared, right? Because it's nerve-wracking. And he wouldn't do it. Like, he was just, I don't know what it was. I guess he just didn't want to go to jail. But so I finally got the nerve to do it. And after I did it the first time and I got out of there so easily with the cash in my hand, I felt more comfortable doing it. And then the next time, and the next time, and the next time. And I had just, at this point, I'm racking hundreds of dollars out of Walmart for nothing. So I ended up doing this for probably 2, 3 months. Um, and we were in Nashville, so we would drive in Nashville. We wouldn't hit the same Walmart every time. It was like 6 or 8 Walmarts, and we would go around to all of them. Sorry, y'all, the sun is coming through the window. I don't have a ring light. I should really get one. This is kind of annoying. I should have done this earlier. But anyway, of course we had to keep getting receipts. So we were picking the receipts up out of the parking lot, and out of the buggies. Usually I would be inside getting the stuff and returning it, and Chris would be outside picking up receipts for me. I was doing this for like 3 months. I'll never forget, it was first thing in the morning, and oh, I had a receipt on my phone for Walmart, and I wanted to get well and get some Coke. And I knew I needed like $50 to get well and get the high I wanted. I go into Walmart and I'm like, okay, I'll never forget. I was supposed to get a box of whitening strips, Crest whitening strips, and some self tanner, and I think that was it. So I got the box of whitening strips. I have been trying to return these whitening strips for days, but every Walmart I went to, the whitening strips were in a security plastic container. So, and it had an alarm on it, so I couldn't return them. So I had went in and I found those whitening strips, and I was like, ching, that's like 60 some dollars right there. And I grabbed the self tanner that was like 20, $30. So with tax, I probably have like $100 just in two items. So I was like, okay, cool. Y'all, before this, I had returned a grocery list before. I'm talking chips, drinks, the whole nine, returned it all. And nobody ever second guessed me. So I've gotten real fucking comfortable doing this. If I can wheel a grocery cart up there, and none of the shit, like sometimes I put the shit in bags, um, but I'm talking cases of soda, bags of chips, cold food, frozen food, it didn't matter. A whole grocery list of shit. I would push it up to customer service and they would return it. No questions asked. I grabbed these whitening strips and this self tanner, and I remember I grabbed the self tanner and I just had the worst feeling in my gut. Now, I'm a very intuitive person. I always have been very intuitive. And I don't know how many things have to happen for me to learn to listen to my gut. Okay. Ugh. But I was on a one track mind. I have a disease that tells me I don't have a fucking disease. I'm just trying to get high. But I remember grabbing it and going to the back of the store and doing something I had never done before, right? But here I am in this Walmart and I'm starting to feel this in my gut. And at this point, I have not committed any crime. So I go to the back of the Walmart and I tell myself I'm going to go to the bathroom, which I had never done before. Never in a million years would I have went to the bathroom. But I go to the bathroom to put the items in a bag. Okay? So I take the items in there with me, put them in a bag. Um, I noticed when I was in there, a woman was in there. She was like fixing herself in the mirror, right? So I just walk out of there. I done put the items in the bag. I feel like, okay, I got them in the bag. I'm good. So I'm paying attention as I'm walking around, seeing if anybody's watching me, like I always do. I go up to customer service and I do the return, and the girl's being real nice to me. And she hands me the money and the receipt. I'm like, oh, thank God. I got it. I'm done. So I go to walk out the door and I'm beelining for the door. And I look around, nobody's stopping me, nothing. As I go to round the corner to head out the door, I feel somebody grab my purse and my arm. And he's like, ma'am, I need you to come with me. And I just remember freezing and being like, oh, fuck. And I look over and it's this big motherfucker, y'all. Like, I don't know who does LP at the Walmarts around here, but I don't think this motherfucker was so big. And at this time, I'm like 90 pounds soaking wet. Oh my God. Like, fuck. I just got caught. And I'm thinking I'm about to go to jail. He walks me into the office and they rewind the cameras. And let me tell you what, Walmart's got some high tech motherfucking cameras, y'all. He was showing me how he can The cameras can go in a 360, can zoom all the way in. If you're on your phone in Walmart walking around like this, Walmart, they can zoom in and see what you're doing on your phone. For real. He showed me that. Because Chris came in the store and was walking around, and he was leaning up playing on his phone looking for me, and he zoomed into his phone to see that he was on YouTube, ironically. So anyway, I get in there. They're telling me, you realize that, you just committed a felony. And I'm like, no. I'd done been to jail at this point. So I'm like, I can take a little ticket, but to tell me it's a felony, who y'all, I'm having flashbacks. I'm thinking back on, oh my God, I'm gonna go to prison. Same shit, Circle K shit. Fuck. So I'm talking to the manager was a girl about my age, maybe a year or two older than me. And LP, old big dude, and they call the police, and the police are coming. And I was stuck in there with them for hours waiting on the cops to come. I got caught in there at 9:30, and by 1 o'clock, I'm sitting in there waiting and waiting and waiting on the cops to come. They keep calling the cops, keep calling the cops, and I'll never forget at 1:15, the LP guy was like, well, if somebody's not here to get you by 2 o'clock, we're gonna let you go. But if you do this again, we're gonna hit you with every item you have stolen at up until the time you get caught. And you will go to prison for this. 2 o'clock comes, y'all. Cops didn't show up and they let me go. When I tell y'all, I am so, so, so thankful there is somebody watching over me. And I'm so eternally grateful. There are so many things that I should have went to prison for, could have went to prison for, and I did not. Would y'all believe me if I told you I left that Walmart and went to another one to get some money to go get well? Because I've got to get high. When my addiction calls, I answer to any means necessary. After this, I end up going back to sleeping in my car and, you know, all that, standing for money. I remember taking cigarette butts out of ashtrays to smoke because I only bought a pack of cigarettes a night, and me and Chris shared them. And when you're high, you nod out holding a cigarette, and I waste most of the cigarettes I bought, and I smoke like a freight train anyways. So I remember doing that. I remember after this, I wanted to take a break from everything. I needed to wash my clothes and take a shower, and I wanted to sleep inside. So I decided to go see my family. So I went to my grandmother's house to see her, wash my clothes, get a decent meal, all that. So I go down there, and I'd already had, some money and some dope. And Chris did not want to. He hated being around my family. So it was no surprise. So I go down there, stay the night, eat, chill, wake up the next morning to my grandmother knocking on the bedroom door that we were sleeping in and telling me that a tow truck was outside. A tow truck, y'all. At this point, it has been a year since I had paid my card note. They were there to get it. How they knew we were there, I didn't find out till later that my grandmother told my ex that I was there because he was wanting to check on me. And both of our names were on the car, so he called Toyota so they could come get it. So now, if my situation wasn't bad enough, now I'm homeless. Well, as my addiction got worse, so did my situation. Now I'm homeless without a car to sleep in. So I get back to Nashville. Can't even remember exactly how I got back there. But now I'm sleeping in Shay's little broke down car. And still doing the same thing. Went back to panhandling and doing all that shit. And believe it or not, it still wasn't rock bottom for me. I had a disease. Anything that stood in between me and getting high, anything that must go will go because I will get high. One track mind. That was all I cared about. I'm creeping up on being homeless for a year. It's starting to get cold outside. So I guess it was about 8 months. I heard someone say the other night that addiction is the only fatal disease that we don't run to get help for. So hear me out. You have cancer. You're running to go get chemo, to get surgery, to try to get well. You have the flu. You're running to the doctor. You're running to the grocery store to get medication. Do what you got to do to get better. And so on and so forth. You have addiction. You're going the other direction, trying to self-medicate it, but you're doing anything but trying to go get better. And that was, when I heard that, I was like, man, so true, and it's so sad. So it's starting to get cold out. I remember standing one day and I had acquired a cell phone. I can't remember how. I had this little flip phone. I think it was Shay's phone, actually. And I called my mom and I told my mom I wanted help again. I couldn't keep living like this. I was tired of being homeless. I was hungry and it was cold. It was getting really cold outside. And I love my mom. I called my mom and she told me she was getting off work and she was coming to get me. And she did. She beelined straight for where I was in Nashville and she picked me up. And, my mom at this point knows I have a sickness. I told her that I would need some Suboxone or some medication to get me by because I couldn't go sick until I got an appointment at the Suboxone clinic. At this point, my mom's done a little bit of research on addiction, so she's working on trying to find me a Suboxone clinic to get into. And I told her to run me by a friend's house and I would get some Suboxone. My mom gave me $100 and I bought heroin and I rode back to Kentucky with my mom in a fight to get sober again. So I think I'm gonna end this one right here, y'all. It gets wild from here. So in the next one, I'll talk about what happens next.